Good morning, students. Let's begin with our second chapter, Lost Spring. Close to the title, you can see there is a subtitle, Stories of Stolen Childhood. Because after reading the title, we are confused. When we say Lost Spring, spring stands for a material also, spring stands for the springs, the water springs that are there, and spring also is a season. When we read the subtitle carefully, Stories of Stolen Childhood, then we understand that spring is a metaphor for childhood. So, when we say lost spring, that means the childhood of these children has been lost somewhere. We know life is like seasons. There are 4 seasons in our life. When we say childhood has been compared to spring, meaning we have new life, new energy, colors everywhere, all these things. People say the best part of their life is childhood. Then youth has been compared to summer, when people work hard, they earn everything like that. Then winter, old age, where people become lethargic, like they are not able to work hard, all these things. And then is autumn, when people finally die, like a leaf broken from a tree. That is how our life has been compared to seasons. So spring stands for childhood. It's a metaphor for childhood. So lost childhood, stories of stolen childhood, that means that the childhood of these children has been lost somewhere. It has been stolen by somebody. By whom exactly? That you'll come to know as soon as we complete the chapter, because you'll be able to judge who has exactly stolen the childhood of these children. So if I tell you Lost Spring, you'll be easily now able to understand that these stories are the stories of the children who are child laborers or whose childhood has been stolen away by somebody. Now, this book has been written by Anis Jung. She is an Indian author, and she's written a complete book on those children who are child laborers. If you search from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, everywhere you will find that there are children who are employed everywhere. If you talk about the Gujarat BT cotton industry, you'll find the children employed. In Rajasthan's gems in gem industry, you'll find the children employed. Kashmir's carpet industry, then cracker industry, then glass industry, everywhere. And moreover, we'll find children working in hotels, dhabas, and all, and some as beggars. All these children are put into the category of child laborers. And Anis wrote a complete book on the child laborers. The title of the book is the same, Lost Springs, Stories of Stolen Childhood. So in this book, in our case, Flamingo, we have been given the stories of 2 children. One is Sahib, who is a rat picker, and one is Mukesh, who is a bangle maker. So let's do the half part of the first portion about Sahib, who is a rag picker and who exactly is not an Indian, who has come from Bangladesh as a refugee. So when we find this chapter, you'll find Anis was in a habit of talking to these children. So the chapter also you'll find that this chapter is broken into 2 portions, and the title of the first portion is Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. And then you'll find that Anis is talking to Sahib. So the first question that she puts in front of Sahib is, why do you do this? So see the beginning of the chapter. She says, why do you do this? I ask Sahib, whom I encounter every morning, scrounging for gold. Scrounging means searching. Now, if you find who are rag pickers, we throw our garbage outside, and these rag pickers, from that same waste, they pick up something which they can sell, and in return they get some money, and their life depends on this money. So in fact, I say their life depends on this garbage that we throw. So scrounging means searching. So if I complete the whole sentence, you'll find one more metaphor over here. Why do you do this? I asked Sahib, whom I encountered every morning, scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Garbage has been compared to gold. Now, this is a metaphor, and none of the people would say that garbage is equal to gold. But for these children, garbage is equal to gold because their life depends on this garbage. So, the first higher order thinking skills questions which can be asked in the board exam is, why is garbage compared to gold? And if garbage becomes gold, the garbage dumps become gold mines. Now, the second thing we have been given is why Sahib came to India. So, let us see this. Sahib left his home long ago, set amidst the green fields of Dhaka. His home is not even a distant memory. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes. His mother tells him that's why they left looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. The question that comes is, why to leave their country and come to another country? The reason was so many storms, no food, no home, and when they had been rendered homeless and they were so hungry, it was better to come into another country and live rather than die in their own country. So if you are asked why Sahib came to India, this is the answer. That there were many storms, they were rendered homeless, and that's why they came to India. Now the next thing that will come is very unusual. Anis just for a talk to Sahib, she says, see, she asked, why do you not go to school? And then see what is Sahib's answer and what Anis did. So let us read this portion. I have nothing to do. I have nothing else to do, he mutters. Nothing else to do. This was the answer to the question. Why do you do this? He said, I have nothing else to do, he mutters, looking away. Go to school? I say glibly. Glibly, she said this without thinking. He said, go to school? I said glibly, realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound, because it is understood if he could go to school, he would have gone there. And slums are illegal settlements. Who would open a school in a slum? So he said, if somebody will open a school, I'll go. Now see what she says. There's no school in my neighborhood. When they build one, I will go. If I start a school, will you come? I said, half joking. She just said this in the form of a joke, that if I start a school, will you come? Yes, he says, smiling broadly. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? It takes longer to build a school. I say, embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. But promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. See the irony of his life. Anis just said, if I open a school, will you come? And he took it so seriously that next time he asked Anis, when are you going to open the school? And Anis felt very embarrassed that why did I make a promise which I did not mean to fulfill. But then she consoled herself, and see the last line, which is full of irony. Promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. Bleak world, blank world. And abounding means coming back again and again. And then she understood, yes, many people make promises to them. This is an NCERT question also. Are promises made to these children? Yes. They are made at the local level by the society. They are made at the national level. They are made at the international level, that they would be given a very good life and all that. But very few children are there who are the lucky ones who receive this good life. There are many who are still roaming around where their childhood has been lost or stolen away by somebody. Now you'll find one more thing, Sahib's full name, and see the irony behind this name. Just let us see. After months of knowing him, I ask him his name, Sahib-e-Alam. He announces. He does not know what it means. If we knew its meaning, Lord of the Universe, he would have a hard time believing it. Sahib's full name is Sahib-e-Alam, and meaning is Lord of the Universe. And what is this Lord of the Universe doing? Rat picking. So if you say, is there not an irony in Sahib's name? Yes, the name is Sahib-e-Alam. Meaning is Lord of the Universe. And doing rat picking. So you find there is a verbal irony in Sahib's name. Now let's continue, and you'll find one more irony over there. He would have a hard time believing it. Unaware of what his name represents, he roams the streets with his friends. And see the next line. An army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds and disappear at noon. Just see the metaphor over here. An army of barefoot boys. Now there can be various explanations. First explanation can be, all of them remain barefoot, so all of them look like an army, because like soldiers in an army, they remain the same, like they look the same with all that uniform and all. So these people also look uniform. The reason all of them remain barefoot. Then one more explanation that can be given, like in army, they attack the garbage dumps, because what is there? Gold. So like in army, they are attacking the garbage dumps and taking away whatever gold they can from them. So that's why they can be compared to an army. Then army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds. There is a simile over here. They appear like the morning birds. Why morning birds? See, morning birds like crow and all, they know that people throw the garbage in the morning, and that time they gather, they cluster over there, and they take away whatever they can. So why these children have been compared to morning birds? They also, like the morning birds, go to the garbage dumps in the morning, and they take away whatever they can on which their life survives. So that's why they have been compared to morning birds. So if you see this line again, we have said army of barefoot boys, and we have said like morning birds. Army of barefoot boys, you find the reason, they attack the garbage dumps and all of them look the same. And morning birds, because like the morning birds, they also attack the garbage dumps and take away whatever they can. and disappear at noon, because at noon time it becomes too hot and normally all the things have been taken away by them. Then over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. So now for a quick revision, which questions have we done? The first question was, what has been garbage compared to gold? Answer, simple answer. It is the reason of their survival. Why did Sahib's family leave Bangladesh? The reason, they were made homeless because of storms and all. Then they took shelter in another country. Third, why was Anis embarrassed? Embarrassed because she made a promise because she did not fulfill. Fourth, what is the verbal irony behind Sahib's name? Then fifth is why they have been compared to an army, and sixth is why they have been compared to morning birds. So we have done in all 6 questions. Now the 7th question that is there is, Anis saw that maximum of them were barefoot and they did not wear shoes. So she asked them that why you don't wear shoes. So see the answer and then let us see what is there in the chapter now. Why aren't you wearing chappals? I asked one. My mother did not bring them down from the shelf, he answers simply. Even if she did, he will throw them off, adds another who is wearing shoes that do not match. When I comment on it, he shuffles his feet and says nothing. I want shoes, says a third boy who has never owned a pair all his life. Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities on village roads. It is not lack of money, but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. Anis asked them, why don't you wear chappals? The simple answer was, mother did not bring them down from the shelf. This was actually a wrong answer. It was an explanation. Explanation of saying that I have shoes, but I don't wear them because it's a tradition. The other one was wearing shoes which do not match. But still you'll find for them shoes is a luxury. It comes after the basic necessity of food, clothes and shelter. For the common people, shoes is exactly, they'll not think of it. They have different pairs of shoes. They have slippers, then they have formal shoes, then they have party wear shoes and all that. But for these children, they can't even afford shoes. So whenever Anis asked any child, they would give one explanation, it's a tradition. We remain barefoot. So this gives an answer that even if we have shoes, we don't wear them. But the actual reason is that they can't afford shoes. So the next line is very important here. See the last 2 words. I wonder if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty. Perpetual, a continuous state of poverty. Yes, this was an explanation. Now we are going to end this with the next paragraph. Let us do this. It's a short story and after that we'll stop. I remember a story. I'll first read the story for you and then we'll find out what exactly is the meaning of this story. So let us see this. I remember a story a man from Udupi once told me. As a young boy, he would go to school past an old temple where his father was a priest. So his father was the priest of the temple. He would stop briefly at the temple and pray for a pair of shoes. 30 years later, I visited the town and the temple, which was now drowned in an air of desolation. It has become completely lonely and all. He went there. In the backyard, where lived the new priest, there were red and white plastic chairs. A young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived panting, like he came running, and threw his school bag on a folding bed. Looking at the boy, just a minute. A young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived, panting, and threw his school bag on a folding bed. Looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer another boy had made to the goddess when he finally got a pair of shoes. Let me never lose them. The goddess had granted his prayer. Young boys like the son of the priest now wore shoes, but many others, like the rag pickers in my neighborhood, remained shoeless. So if you find and read the story again, you will find there are 3 boys in the story. One boy who went to the temple and prayed for shoes. Another boy who came from the school, he was wearing shoes and socks and he just threw them. And the third boy who was praying to the goddess that I have got shoes after much problem, I should not lose them. So if I say the first and the third boy are put into the category of unprivileged children and the second boy is put into the category of a privileged child. Who are unprivileged children? They don't even have shoes. They worry for their basic necessities. They have to work with their parents for their basic necessities. And this privileged child came from the school and for him shoes and socks did not matter. They were a part of the uniform. And this boy was a privileged child who does not have to think of the basic necessities. So what is the conclusion of the story? After this story, we come to know that in the whole world, the children can be divided into two categories. One are privileged children and another is unprivileged children. So this story tells us that there are many children around who roam around without shoes. So if for a quick revision, the questions that we have done is, first one, why has been garbage compared to gold? Second, why did Sahib's family leave Bangladesh? Third is why Anis felt embarrassed while she made a promise. Then, what is the verbal irony behind Sahib's name? Why is the group of rat picker boys compared to an army of barefoot boys? Why are they compared to morning birds? Then, why they made an explanation to Anis? Then, what was the real implication of the story told by the man from Udupi? So in all, we have done 8 questions. After this, I'll be posting you the questions also, and I'll be posting you the notes also. Thank you.